Hello and welcome to another episode of The Business Renovator. I'm your host, Coach Phil. Today, cultivating high performance cultures in the workplace. I have a wonderful guest who's an expert in that space, and we're going to bring her on shortly. But thank you for being here if you're watching live. Appreciate you. The show is really all about helping you get some ideas, or maybe somebody you could share this with. If you're watching it on the replay, some people often do because they're busy doing their own thing. So hashtag replay and let us know that you're watching us. If you have some feedback, comments, good, bad, and the ugly, like Clint Eastwood would say in his movie, we want to hear it all because we can't get better without feedback. So again, hashtag replay and any feedback, kudos, or things that you would like to see different. And if you know of somebody that would be a person of interest with a story, don't have to be an author, write a book, or have massive change in the world. Just one step forward could maybe have an influence on somebody out there in the global situation. I was going to say global economy, but it's not always about money. Anyway, um, here comes a shameless plug for me because this is what I do. Shameless plugs, apparently. Hang on, here we go. Did you know there's no cost to that? No credit card required. Just go to coachphil.ca. At the top right-hand corner, there's a link for access to the business growth assessment. Complete it and get some feedback. Recently, I had a business owner complete it, and their score was really high. So there's no need to have a conversation. They just got a check-in, as Zig Ziglar would say, the check-in from the neck in. And so they're on the right path, doing okay. Don't need a hand from a coach. However, if you're not that high of score and you have question in and around what the business growth score is going to tell you, then be sure to book a complimentary 20-minute coaching call and find out if there's some book, something we can do together, or maybe it's a podcast different than ours. Happy to do that. Again, just go to Coach Phil, and all of the coordinates are there to do that. If you would like to jump in, it's free, no credit card required. And as I said before, we're going to have a wonderful guest on today. So let's just get right to that. The topic today is cultivating high performance cultures in the workplace. So welcome to the Business Radio. I just rented, it must be the end of the month or the beginning of a new month. The leases run out on my lips because they're not working perfectly. So welcome to the Business Renovator. Today we have an inspiring guest, Denise Ropp, a true trailblazer in the health and wellness business with over 35 years as a registered nurse in occupational health. She's honed her strategic mindset, entrepreneurial spirit, leading remarkable success in various industries. You're going to be able to learn more from her today on the Business Renovator and hear about her journey, her triumphs, valuable insights on creating compassionate, high-performance workplaces. Get ready for an episode filled with uplifting moments and invaluable lessons. Let's just get her done. I'm going to bring her up right away. Here we go. Honest, she's coming right up. Here she is. She's not shy. I just couldn't push the right buttons. Hey, good day, Denise. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Phil. This is great. I love talking about this stuff. So I'm anxious to get started. So
Yeah, well, you didn't start with 35 years experience as a nurse. You started before that. You started one step, right? And when we met and had a conversation, there's a lot of interesting things you did. And yes, I do want to talk somewhat about what you do in terms of helping people in the cultural world of business and leadership and teams. That's an important subject in today's world, and not enough effort gets put into that. People tend to be, in what I've experienced, to be more focused on the money side of it. And if they just realize that they build the culture, the money will show up. Anyway, but to start, Let's start not way back when you were a young girl in kindergarten, not that far back, but tell us a little bit about how you got started. Why did you go into nursing? Let's start there.
Oh my goodness. So why did I go into nursing? I went into nursing because that was really the option. I mean, it was nurse, teacher. I didn't see a whole lot of option. I got to university and it was like, hey, there's women in computer and that kind of thing. Now, happily, and for the world, I'm not in computers or accounting or that kind of thing. I did do economics for a while, which was really cool. Really like the microeconomic side of things, but or not the micro, the macro economic side of things. But ultimately went into nursing so that I could travel, so that I could take my career and go from place to place to place. Funny part of that is, for the most part, I've stuck pretty much close to home and haven't gone too far with that. But the business side of things really did work because I got into, I found that I wasn't really a bedside kind of nurse. I'm okay, but I really was interested in preventative health, preventative medicine, the preventative side of things. So I went into occupational health, and I just loved occupational health, and that's where I got a lot of understanding about people and how people really work in businesses and how they work in their own personal lives, and it was fascinating. It was just really interesting to see how people are really involved. And as you started off saying there, so much in our world these days is all about money. But when it comes right down to it, your business, pretty much anything out there, is really people. It's people right from the beginning. That people come up with the idea, people come up with the prototype, people come up with the process, people make whatever it is that you're doing, people sell whatever it is you're doing, and then they buy whatever it is you're doing. So pretty much, it's people from start to finish. So figuring out how to keep them healthy, keep them happy, keep them doing what they need to do in any part of their life, not just business. It really, that's where I started to get really exciting results in just being able to bring people to a place where they were happy and felt their employers cared. And that's where I got my kicks as an occ health nurse.
Cool. So I know this gentleman. We met through the pandemic, and he's an interesting dude. He's not into healthcare, but he's into living safely. He's all about being aware in the environment you're in and living your life to your fullest, but being aware of what might be something that be an issue to your health or your well-being. So I just want to say good morning to Alan, and great to see him here. When you were talking, Denise, you made me think about a fellow. I've never met him, but I know of him. And when I mention his name, you probably heard him too. And that's Richard Branson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what he talks about is the most important aspect of your business is your people. And without your people, you really don't have a business. And we also need the people that we serve, absolutely. But if we don't look after the people that we have in our organizations will. There's two paths, I believe, based on my life experience. There's the course of do it now, do it my way, a Newtonian approach. And then there's a Whiteheadian approach, which is empower your people to turn on their creative juices. And if you empower the people that you were there, they'll take you further than what you could have done by yourself by trying to command and control and steer. I see you nodding. I think
I agree
we never talked about
100%.
that. Yeah.
No, we didn't. And most of that is because if you've got, that Newtonian idea, if you've got it's my way or the highway, then you've really got blinders on. You've only got your creativity based on your experience and your options. The second you open up to other people and allow their creativity, now you've got, we could do it that way, or we could do it that way, or, so your roadblocks that you have on your own suddenly disappear because everybody else has got bridges that go all the way around and in different kinds of areas. So it's just so much better to have more people.
I totally agree with that. One of the things I really enjoy quite often is improv, whether I see it live or that crazy show on TV with the Canadian who's really good at it, Colin Mockery.
Yep.
It's funny. His name is Mockery, and he makes mockery a living.
Perfect.
But he's brilliant. When you bring that into the workplace, a yes and game, it's amazing about the. You get rid of the yeah, no, yeah, but you get rid of that defeatist, limiting thinking, and move into the creative side where you can tap into the power of other people's minds. I mean, there's a lot of people who have written and studied and done a whole bunch of things that would prove or say that that is um, a better way to go. It's an easier way to go, and you're not dragging a bunch of stuff on your back psychologically, but you're freer and lighter and able to think more with more resiliency and more adaptable.
Definitely, definitely. You're right on there. You're right there. So all the stress goes, if the stress can go down, if you let people have the, um, if you let people have the breadth to be creative in their job, then that's perfect. It's exactly what you want because, like you said, you're gonna get more creativity happening for sure.
So your expertise, I mean, you're an RN, so that's thank you for taking that and looking after people in one way, shape, or form. And then you moved into occupational health, and then in there you probably learned some things along the way that maybe one or two or three or a dozen tips that you could maybe one or two. I'll not be greedy.
You know
You
what?
could share.
What I learned was how people fit in there and how they fit to the bottom line and how they make a difference, and paying attention to what's really going on for them and what's important for them. And I see this a lot even today, where leaders are really trying to do their best, and I firmly believe that. They go out and they get the policies, the procedures, that they get the HR people, they do the training, they have the standards, they have the Wednesday wellness lunch, or they have the team building parties and all that kind of stuff. And it's all to build something around that. I care for you. You even give them benefits and you compensate them well. But a lot of employees are just seeing that as standard fare now. They're just sort of going, well, you're supposed to do that. That's normal. And
Mhm.
so they don't see it as my employee really cares about me. So they want to hear something a little bit different that really shows them how they really are important to you. Like, so I'm not a big supporter of the pizza lunch. I think it's a great idea, but I don't think it's a big supporter, especially if you go and get beer, because then that opens up all kinds of other issues. And um, but today, with all of the economic stuff that's going on and the politics that's going on out there, as an employer, you don't have much control over what's happening out there, but you certainly have control over the culture inside your doors. And can you create a place where the employees actually feel they are, they feel like their family, they feel like you're really taking care of them? So that means, asking them a lot of questions, talking to them, figuring out what it is they want. Or just in the position that I'm in right now with I Am Here, what we do is we really help peer to peer. So we actually give the power to the employees so that they can ask each other, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing today, Phil? Because it's okay not to feel okay, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. And when you start people and give them the knowledge and the skills and the confidence to be able to ask that particular question, people start to go, hey, wait a minute. They're asking me a personal question about how I feel. And I may feel great today. I may feel lousy today. I may not have got sleep last night. The tire went flat on my car on the way home, or getting here or whatever. So everybody's looking for that that personal connection. And it's really more about just learning the skills of how to do that, and then letting people do that, because I think they want to. I think they want to ask those questions.
So I agree with what you're saying there, and I just want to make sure. A couple of 3 weeks ago, I heard what I'm going to talk about a little bit different than what I would have thought of. So I'm always looking for ways to turn my kaleidoscope to be a little bit more aware. Um, and that was, we have 2 ears and 1 nose. We've heard that a lot, and that's the ratio we should listen to. And that's, you were talking about asking questions and people being heard. And there's a couple of things racing through my head. One is empathy. Tactical empathy is another way to look at that. And then the other is not only just to listen, but to let people feel like they've been heard. Because some people, like what I've heard recently in my studies and being a coach and a leader and mentor, is that stop saying things. So just to make sure I understand, this was what I think I heard. Stop that preface and just say, it sounds like, and then repeat what you heard. It's way more sincere. It's like you are showing up, that you're demonstrating that you've really listened to them. You're not saying, so just to make sure I heard what you said, which was old school thinking. New school would suggest that just jump right in. It seems like, feels like, sounds like, looks like, makes a difference in the dialogue. And tactical empathy,
Definitely,
attention to them.
definitely, and listening. There's again, there's another part to that. There's listening so that you can be empathetic with that person, so that you can actually hear what they are saying. And then there's another type of listening that we do a lot of, and it's that one-upmanship listening. You're listening so that you can do it better, right? So it's being aware of just that whole idea of, am I listening so that I can be supportive and empathetic? And I like to throw in the word compassionate too, and being authentic as well. So being real. So when you do those things, you are seeing that person. If you're being compassionate and in asking the question, and then you're listening so that you can maybe not say anything. Sometimes not saying anything it's just about sitting there. In healthcare, we do that a lot, where people, they just need to say stuff. They're not looking for an answer. They're not looking for help. They're not looking for a lot of things. And guys, a lot of women are like this. They may tell you things and you don't really have to provide an answer. Yes, you're not there to fix it. Just listen, right? And you don't have to say, so is this what I heard? No, it's a, just are you, I hear you. Wow. Whatever. But then also add in the just being real so that you're actually connected there. You're authentically connected. Those kinds of things really help.
You reminded me of 3 words that are important for me, and they help me stay on course: to be authentic, progressive, and effective. Am I that every day? No, but it's
None of us
something to
are.
strive. Yeah, it's something to strive for, and to look forward to working on becoming that day
Well,
for me.
and it's also important for you to be able to recognize that so that you can say to somebody else, I'm not on for this conversation right now. And it's so it's protecting you and it's protecting them, because there's lots of days. I mean, you can see it on the highway. You just drive down the highway, and some people are really great drivers some days, and then the next day they are, just crazy drivers.
You've been
And
stalking me? How do you know my driving habits?
mm, I would
Yes.
say that would be the norm. We all need places to actually let off steam, right? And some people actually do it on the highway. Not the best, but they do. So
Yep, I've been that guy for sure. Not anymore, though.
yeah.
The other thing that
So it's important.
what is important, what you're making me think about, is the art of being a coach. We actually, within the company I'm with, we have a great program that works on helping leaders develop their coaching conversation. And a coaching conversation goes back to what you just said. you ask a question and then you let them, you don't jump in with a solution. And our goal in the leadership program we have is to help our clients develop that kind of ability if they don't have it. If they have it, then refine it. And that is to show up and listen and allow the person that they're working with, the coachee, to come up with their own answers. Because if they come up with their own answers, they're more likely to do the work on a want to basis versus I have to do it basis.
I think it probably opens up a few more questions. I mean, if you know the answer, how can I help you actually get there? How can I help you be accountable to getting there? Those kinds of questions from a coach or anybody is always helpful. So just, yeah, how can I help you get there?
So
If you know where you need to go.
I'm sure I'm making assumptions. I shouldn't do that. But I'm going to guess that you've probably had a couple of stories of people where you've got to work with an individual or a company where you don't have to mention names, but I'd really like to hear it's an opportunity for you to brag about some of the things that you've supported and made happen as a result of your approach to leadership and culture.
Oh, thank you. I really, like I said, I start off by really empowering leadership, and because I think that they're trying to do the right thing. There's a lot going on in leadership, and sometimes engaging the people in their corporation is challenging, and they're not necessarily always aware of what it is that they need to be aware of. I remember one organization I was brought into. This was a disability case and claims management. I was brought in to figure out what they were going to do with this $1 million liability that they had on a monthly basis. Obviously, there were a lot of people off sick. It was a big organization. And when I went in and started talking to them, I started off with just what I consider to be basics around education of, did they know how certain things worked? Were they aware of anything other than that $1 million price tag that they looked at on the monthly financials? And they weren't. They hadn't attached names to it. They hadn't attached particulars to it. They hadn't attached anything to it. So just bringing awareness of how many people, was that reasonable? It wasn't, by the way. They were way over the industry average. And then putting names and faces to it. But also I took the next step of putting in, this is what we can do. These people are ready to retire, and they're actually financially better off if they retire rather than stay here. These people need better management. These people need to be returned to work. These people need to be fired, whatever it is. But I gave a story with each one of them. And in doing that, empowered the leadership to make some decisions. And what happened when that was done was leadership came off as the good guy. Because it was like, you mean if I retire, I actually get more money? You figured out how to do that. I don't have to figure this out. I can get more money if I do that. Yeah. Well, then leadership looked like the star. And bringing people back to work who could work and wanted to work, they looked like the star. If they had somebody step in and do, help with some of the management of the situation for people who were ill, again, they came off as the star. And that made them feel good, and it made the employees feel good that were off. But the other thing that happened was the trickle-down effect that had in the organization, because all of a sudden the organization was like, well, now they're really looking after these teammates of mine, and it became, wow, they care about us. The outcome of that was pretty tremendous, because the culture changed significantly because they started to see that people felt as if they were cared for and being treated fairly and equitably. So it changed a lot of things. Other places, some of them, it's about putting in the right processes, and again, just educating them, and then empowering them to actually connect with their employees. Actually, what is it that your employees want? And with I Am Here, that's what we do. We actually figure out, we put in some courses, we talk to the employees, and then we figure out what's important to them. We provide the information. It's a back and forth kind of information between the employer and the employees, and we actually get that conversation happening. And again, the employees begin to think, my employer cares. This is why they brought us in. It changes the culture. We give them the skills about how to have conversations. Even we've got one going right now, which is called Courageous Conversations. And that came out of conversations where employees said, we got this guy over in the C-suite here, and he's not a great guy to communicate with. He just doesn't know how to do it. And so we brought in some courses that built knowledge, built skills, and gave people confidence to be able to engage in courageous conversations. And those courageous conversations didn't just go to the guy in the C-suite. They went to every team member. They went to marketing, to the customer service department. They went to the family members at home, to the kids, to the wives and husbands, to the community groups that people are involved with. So you end up shifting a lot of conversations just because, and a lot of culture, just because people are given the knowledge, the skills, and the tools, and the confidence. So it's giving those things, yeah.
And going back to the one story we were talking about, how you change the culture and people are leaning into it, and then I'm going to show how people can connect with you with this. Something I go, that's interesting. Look at that funny looking thing. So adaptability is about no one cares about you until they know how much you care about them. So what I heard you sharing your time with us today is a lot of what you do is foster that kind of mindset. Maybe not in those words, but it's the same underlying principle is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And it pays off. What we're seeing is it pays off. It pays off in turnover, absenteeism, safety, in a big way. Because if people are, if they're not worried about what else is going on in their life, they can actually focus on what they're doing. So your previous speaker there, definitely along that line. But what we're seeing, and these are for the number of people out there, because we've been doing this for 6 years or so, we're seeing corporations' bottom lines increase by 20%. And that's that culture. That's a really hardcore number. 20%. If you could lift your bottom line from, and just for ease, 1 million to 1.2 million, then that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah,
and that comes from the culture, not just the absenteeism and the turnover and that kind of thing, but that creativity that we were talking about before. That kind of stuff ultimately comes into it as well, where people are, I got a better idea. And it may cost you less to produce something. You may have less, if you're in manufacturing, you may have less wastage because somebody comes up with a better idea or just is doing their job better.
Yeah, and I have experienced the bottom line, top line enhancements because of looking after people more effectively with empathy, really showing up and hearing them. And there was another thought that was going through my head. You're talking about safety. In my work, what I do is not exactly the same as yours, but there's a parallel there. And helping people feel better about what they're doing at work and they show up because they want to, not because they have to more often, also has an impact at home. And if they're happy at home, they're happy at work. And if they're happy at work, they're happy at home. All of that plays together. We're human beings having this human experience. And I like what you're talking about. The only thing I don't like is time flies. So I want to make sure people understand this is one place where you can get hold of you, Denise. So it's on your LinkedIn profile. Previously, you saw the website where you could get more information. That was a video link there you could click on. Up on the website, go there on your own and play around with it. We're not going to play it here. And if you want to just connect with Denise because she's a cool, interesting woman, you can do that on LinkedIn and foster conversations there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Phil. This has been great.
Is there one last 30-second nugget that you would like to impart on our audience?
Your people really want to hear from you. They really want to know that they are seen, that they're valued, and that they have a purpose in your business. And that does mean getting in touch with them, listening to what is it that they want, and then letting them know that it's, some days they're good days, some days are not so good. So, and it's okay to ask that question. Are you feeling okay? Because it's okay not to feel okay. And it's absolutely okay to ask for help. That's key. That is so key. So help your employees.
Appreciate that. Again, thanks for being on the show and imparting a little bit of your wisdom over the years. We'll see you on the other side.
You bet.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you were here listening live, or if you're going to watch this on the replay, watching it later, there's a couple of nuggets in there. And maybe you're doing things the right way. Maybe you're listening and the empathy is there. Maybe you don't have a challenge. But if you do, reach out to Denise. You can see how to do that. The links are in the video. So let's make sure you do that and help your team help themselves live the better and bestest. That's a new word, lives. So that brings us to the end of another episode of the Business Renovator. And if you, couple of things, share this out with the people in your communities. If you know of an individual that would like to share their story, have a conversation with me on the Business Renovator, make the introduction. Let's have an exploratory conversation and go from there. Until next time, I'm Coach Phil.
I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.